Hello everyone. Okay, we're ready for chapter 5. If you remember yesterday, Mary found the garden. She went into the garden. She could see things beginning to grow. Dickon had bought her some tools and they went back into the garden to see what was happening. Dickon stood looking round him. "I'd never thought I'd see this place." "Did you know about it?" asked Mary. Dickon nodded. "Will there be roses? Can you tell? I thought perhaps they were all dead." No, look here." He took a thick knife out of his pocket. "There's here a new bit," and he touched a shoot which looked brownish green instead of hard, dry and grey. He lifted his head to look up at the climbing and hanging sprays above him. "There'll be fountains of roses here in the summer." Dickon began to clear places to plant seeds, and Mary was startled and sorry when she heard the clock striking the hour of her midday dinner. "I shall have to go. Whatever happens, you never will tell?" "Not me. Thou art as safe as missel thrush." Mary ran so fast she was rather out of breath when she reached her room. Her dinner was waiting on the table, and Martha was waiting near it. "'Tis a bit late. Where hast thou been?" "I've seen Dickon." "How does thou like him?" "I think he's beautiful." Mary was afraid that Martha might begin to ask difficult questions when she began to ask where the flowers were to be planted. Who did they ask about?" "I haven't asked anybody yet." Mary ate her dinner, and when she rose from the table the door opened and Mrs. Medlock walked in. "Your hair's rough. Go and brush it, Martha. Help her to slip on her best dress. Mr. Craven sent me to bring her to him in his study." All the pink left Mary's cheeks, and after she was quite tidy, she followed Mrs. Medlock down the corridor in silence. She would not like him. She knew that what he would think of her. She was taken to a part of the house she had never been to before. At last, Mrs. Medlock knocked on the door, and when someone said, "Come in," they entered the room together. A man was sitting in the armchair before the fire. "This is Miss Mary, sir." When she went out and closed the door, Mary could only stand waiting. A plain little thing, twisting her thin hands together, she could see that the man in the chair was not so much a hunchback as a man with high, rather crooked shoulders, and he had black hair streaked with white. "Come here," he said. "Are you well?" "Yes." "Do they take good care of you?" "Yes." He rubbed his forehead fretfully. "You are very thin." His black eyes seemed as if they scarcely saw her. "I intended to send you a governess or a nurse or something of that sort, but I forgot." "Please," began Mary. "I'm too big for a nurse, and please don't make me have a governess yet." "What do you want to do?" "I want to play out of doors." "Where do you play?" "Everywhere. I don't do any harm." "Don't look so frightened. You could not do any harm. I sent for you today because Mrs. Sowerby said I ought to see you. Her daughter has talked about you. Play out of doors as much as you like. You may go where you like and amuse yourself as you like. Is there anything you want? Toys, books, dolls?" "Might I have a bit of earth?" "Earth? What do you mean?" "To plant seeds in, to make things grow, to see them coming alive." "You can have as much earth as you want. When you see a bit of earth you want, take it, child, and make it come alive. There, you must go now, I'm tired." He touched the bell. "Goodbye. I shall be away all summer." Mrs. Medlock came so quickly that she must have been waiting in the corridor. Mrs. Medlock let her run wild in the garden. She needs liberty and fresh air and romping about. When Mrs. Medlock left her at the end of her own corridor, Mary ran back to the garden, but there was no Dickon to be seen. Something white fastened to the standard rose bush caught her eye. It was a piece of paper fastened on the bush with a long thorn. There were some roughly printed letters on it and a sort of picture. At first she could not tell what it was. Then she saw it was meant for a nest with a bird sitting on it. Underneath, the letters said, "I will come back." And tomorrow we'll find out what Dickon does and whether he does come back.